in this round, but let's just jump into it. We want to bring you guys some action. Michael Braverman playing Is It Phoenix? He is 3-0 against Paul Wu playing Mono Red Aggro, also checking in at 3-0. We watched Braverman pick up a win in a backup match when Emma, Handy, and Dom Harvey were bringing you round number 2. Don't think we've seen Paul Wu just yet. So we're seeing a hand here with some Mountains, some Chain Whirlers, and a Lightning Strike, along with the previously banned Ramunap Ruins. Not banned in Historic, of course, banned in its standard format. And we are underway here in game number 1. Now, Patrick, I got to ask, because game number 1 does begin, have you dabbled in Historic all that much? Okay, sounds like we are having some slight technical difficulties in Patrick's ability to hear me, so we'll see if we can get those worked out, but for now, it looks like I might just be calling this match solo like Vin Scully. So while our team of directors work on that, I am going to let you know that it looks like a Rampaging Ferocidon is on the way. So we'll see if the dinosaur will resolve. Let's try this again. Mid-dinosaur, mid-throw possibility. Mr. Sullivan, have you dabbled much in Historic?
A lot of previously banned standard cards here making an appearance for Mono Red Aggro.
Well, if he can hear me, I unfortunately cannot hear him. Very interesting to see this
sort of archetype emerge in the face of goblins.
Again, our team work on that. Here's an op in response. Here is Stormwing Entity on the cheap. Ferocidon's going to trigger. And we'll see the options here with the scribe between Strategic Planning and Finale of Promise. So we'll see where Michael Braverman wants to put these cards. Now we head back over to Paul Wu, drew another copy of Ramunap Ruins. That one may matter a little bit later in the game, but for now, we are going to see a Rampaging Ferocidon almost certainly attack here in just a moment. Patrick is out. Emma Handy, whose mic needs to be unmuted on Discord, is joining me. And as soon as she unmutes her mic, I might be able to hear her talk?
Maybe. It's hard to say. Honestly, just the new and improved Patrick Sullivan. I can't say it with a straight face. It's a good thing my face isn't on camera.
Well,
so what I missed? What's going on? Catch me up.
All right, what'd you miss? You just missed, well, I think you may have just seen Wizards Lightning take care of that Stormwing Entity. Rampaging Ferocidon coming into the red zone. Michael Braverman, I'd say, is a little bit behind this game. Chart, of course, could help to catch up, and Arclight Phoenix is going to hit the bin. So I think Phoenix should be easy enough to bring back this turn. But instead, we're going to go Stormwing Entity. And I know that you and Dom did cover Braverman a little bit earlier, defeating Chantel Campbell. With Is It Phoenix? So I have to ask person who's qualified for the Mythic Invitational and doing Historic coverage with me, how do you feel about Is It Phoenix in this format?
So it's something that I actually think lines up very well against a lot of the creature-oriented strategies that people are kind of bringing to the table, trying to be more proactive, abuse things like Phyrexian Tower, Rampaging Ferocidon, and so on. It's something that can actually just kind of pick apart the battlefield while picking up aggression from Arclight Phoenix, from Crackling Drake, to actually close the door while interacting on the battlefield. So I really like its position, as long as people aren't trying to use things like artifacts, like Planeswalkers, these sort of bigger, clunkier spells that Phoenix tends to struggle against.
We're going to see a Lightning Strike take care of that Stormwing Entity. So that's going to hit the graveyard. I am a little surprised. I mean, surprise is a bit strong. Mono Red's generally fine in every format. Sometimes it's better than others. Sometimes it's better in some formats than others. I guess I'm a little bit surprised given what I've seen in Historic, because I've been playing it a decent amount, probably not as much as you have been recently, to see Mono Red sitting at 3-0 right now. Again, I don't think it's a bad deck or anything like that, but do you think it sits among the top tier in the format?
So it is something that does something very similar to the Is It Phoenix deck, in that it actually can interact on the battlefield while applying pressure. And there is just a point where a pile of Lightning Strikes gives you enough redundancy against a lot of the Growth Spiral, the Uro decks of the format, that if you can kill them before Uro happens, or turn off the life gain from Uro with something like Rampaging Ferocidon, you can find yourself in a really good position.
Makes sense. Here is Finale of Promise. Chart, of course, and Throw Possibility. Look at us drawing all the cards in the world. If we are Michael Braverman.
3 Phoenixes in Braverman's graveyard?
That's a lot of those.
Oh yeah, hard not to imagine he doesn't take to the skies here in a second.
And there are 3 down there. I mean, yeah, there are 3. Okay, so a couple of triggers here from Ferocidon, and those are definitely going to happen. So we are definitely got ourselves in a bit of a racing situation. So now it begs the question of how many Phoenixes are we supposed to attack with? Is it 1? Is it 2? Or do you think it's 3?
I think this is actually a really rough position where these Arclight Phoenixes are not super valuable on defense, right? I feel like here we're going to see Braverman just try and chump block a Goblin Chain Whirler and is leaving 2 Phoenixes back as insulation against a card like Shock.
Well, Braverman just attacks with 1, 2 hanging back on defense. You see the Chain Whirler and the Ferocidon. Don't forget about the Ramunap Ruins that are hanging out in Paul Wu's mana base. A Lightning Strike in hand. Chain Whirler and Soulscar Mage 2, but Lightning Strike was the draw this turn, and probably the most relevant of the 3 cards that are hanging out in the grip. So now Paul Wu's got to figure out how to navigate this turn. What do we attack with if we are attacking? Is there any way for us to induce a double block, perhaps? So there's some thinking to be done. You may also just want to Lightning Strike one of these Phoenixes right now and then attack with your 2 creatures. So decisions for a mono red player.
Yeah, so look at this Soulscar Mage hanging out in mono red's hand, right? So this is a spot where that card with the Goblin Chain Whirler could actually make it so these Arclight Phoenixes can't double block Chain Whirler to kill it.
That's a good point. That's a very, very good point. Decided to go with the Lightning Strike option main phase before attacking. So strike a Phoenix, attack with both the creatures. Rampage and Ferocidon is going to menace on in. Chain Whirler is going to get blocked by Phoenix. Here's another Chain Whirler trigger. Swing the chains. Ferocidon will deal damage to to Wu. And then we've got Braverman down to 4 with Paul Wu at what I would consider to be a pretty healthy 13.
Right, now Braverman just first thing has to answer this Rampaging Ferocidon, or bringing back his Phoenixes will kill him in conjunction with those Ramunap Ruins hiding out in Paul Wu's land area.
All right, so we found a Pillar of Flame. Pillar of Flame is going up.
Oh, wait!
Oh, do we have lethal?
Oh my god, we have lethal!
Oh, we have lethal.
Oh my god, and this is exactly what we were talking about before. Phoenix can turn the corner, interact when necessary, and then just slam the door shut on a dime.
Wow. So, triggers. You go down to 2. I go down to less than 2, which is 0. Well, okay, Michael Braverman. Barely able to cross the finish line there, but cross the finish line he does. Up a game here over Paul Wu. So congratulations to Michael on that first game win. Very well played. While these players do sideboard, let's talk about Star City Games Premium, something that you and I, Emma, are both a part of. You become a Star City Games Premium member for just $7.99 per month and receive instant access to exclusive benefits like exclusive content by Emma, myself, Paulo Vitor Damarosa, Jerry Thompson, Patrick Sullivan, Sheldon Menery, and many more. 5% off of sealed products, 10% off of singles, and 15% off of supplies. And given that we are in the preview season for a brand new set in Zendikar Rising, seems like a good time to get some discounts on some of those products. StarCityGames.com/join-premium today. Again, only $7.99 per month. Enjoy some of the best Magic the Gathering content in the world and some discounts on brand new Magic the Gathering products. Pretty good first game for you to jump into there, huh, partner?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So Braverman is someone who is quietly one of just the stone cold killers of the SCG Tour. 2 invitational top 8s to his name, if memory serves correctly. I think it's 2 different Charlotte ones. It might be a Charlotte and a Syracuse one. But no slouch. Absolutely
no slouch at all.
Play a game of cards, as evidenced by what we just saw, where we didn't even see lethal. He saw it immediately and just killed Wu out of nowhere.
You know, when I saw the Pillar of Flame, I was thinking of Magma Spray. I was thinking of one of those red spells that doesn't go upstairs. You know, it deals the 2 damage, but it doesn't actually deal damage to the opponent. Pillar of Flame does that. Magma Spray does not. So that Pillar of Flame, that shock, that opt, get back those Phoenixes, attack for Xaxes, and get the job done. So is it Phoenix up 1 here over mono red aggro? I think one of my favorite things about Historic right now, and there's actually a lot of things like about the format, it's just you can kind of play whatever you want and have some success with it. It's a pretty wide open format at this stage of things. Who knows if that changes at the conclusion of this tournament or the Mythic Invitational next weekend. But for now, I don't know. Things feel pretty wide open.
Yeah, I'm a really big fan of the direction that the format's gone, right? Last week, we had a bunch of our writers, 10 if memory serves correctly, do what we'd play. We put a ton of those out over on SCG Premium. You can see that down there. And we had 8 different archetypes, and 2 of the archetypes or one of the archetypes that had 2 authors had very different lists from one another. So it felt like 10 just incredible writers, all with their own ideas for what is the best thing to do in the format, right? I know you kind of drive a lot of us, give us some direction, but you kind of just always actually say what you think is the best thing to do. And 10 of us truly landed on 9 different things. And that's the great thing about Historic right now.
Yeah, I just like that there's a ton of different options, whereas, 2 or 3 weeks ago, whenever Field of the Dead was still legal, there weren't. You had Field of the Dead decks and trying to figure out what the best version of that was, and then decks that beat Field of the Dead. But now we just have decks, and, what's the best thing to be doing? What's the most powerful strategy? Is it mono red aggro? Is it getting back Arclight Phoenixes? Is it casting Bolas' Citadel? Is it... hopefully not. Escaping Uro. I don't know. Is it casting Muxes? There's a lot of options in this format. I didn't even mention Godpharaoh's Gift, which is something Paulo Vitor Damaderosa is playing here in this tournament. So just kind of the wide open nature of the format right now is incredibly appealing. And to see Izzet Phoenix doing battle against mono red aggro here at the 3-0 bracket and 2 players that have plenty of success to their name, I think we're in a good spot for Historic, at least today.
Yeah, honestly, I'm incredibly comfortable with what we're watching right now. These are 2 decks that I necessarily wouldn't have expected to see in the 3-0 bracket on a comfortable run on the way to the top 8.
Looks like we've got a catcher Triome here for Braverman. A far less explosive draw here for Braverman. No Phoenixes or anything like that going on just yet. He does have strategic planning, Charter Course, a Braid, and a couple of lands in hand. But also for a mono red player, not too much going on here either. Braid's going to take care of that Gia 2 Lava Runner. And then you see a hand of Red Cat Melee, Lightning Strike, and Shock. So Paul Wu was able to get to the battlefield in the previous game with Rampaging Ferocidon and Goblin Chain Whirlers, plural. But really nothing going on this game. So that means that Braverman's got plenty of time to get some things set up, and is going to start setting up via Charter Course.
And this is that situation where Braverman has enough lands. Look, he didn't discard Arclight Phoenix. He's just planning to cast that in a second.
We've got a strategic planning, which I think might just run itself into another strategic planning and just further set things up. So, cast 1, take 1,
Squadron,
and pass the turn back.
If you will.
I'm not about that life, so that's not going to resonate with me, trust me. Ether Gust the draw here, clearly good against a mono red strategy, and we'll see how that gets used here for Braverman. But now we're starting to see the gears turn a little bit here. Crackling Drake, Stormwing Entity among the options. It looks like the Drake will be the selection. Mountain for the turn. Can't play the Crackling Drake this turn or the Arclight Phoenix, but again, Ether Gust at the ready. And as things currently stand, Wizard Lightning is drawn there for Paul Wu. We're looking at Michael Braverman here, Emma, at 18 life, doing some setup, and I think clearly ahead this game.
Yeah, if you're in Braverman's seat and you're about to start casting 4-mana spells at 18 life, you've got to feel at least kind of comfortable about your position. Also, you can imagine that Wu just has a pile of burn spells in hand, but at 18, only the last burn spell counts for anything, right?
Absolutely, and also, this isn't like we're playing modern, Boros Burn or anything like that, where once you start letting those burn spells rip, it's like, okay, I'm probably gonna be dead in a turn or two. Like this is a different format entirely, and the burn spells aren't nearly as good as Boros Charm and the like. So, if I am Michael Braverman, especially drawing a copy of Finale of Promise when I'm at 18 and my opponent has no creatures on the battlefield, yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about things.
Oh yeah, and this Finale just is going to generate so many cards.
So let's see, we're looking at Charter Course. We'll see exactly what cards Braverman's going to play here. Hopefully he is not lagged out. We'll see in just a moment. Okay, looks like we're okay. Shock is one. That's going upstairs. Charter Course is the other. 2 cards coming. There's Chart and Finale. And now it seems like a decent enough time to put that Arclight Phoenix into the graveyard.
Oh, is that a land drop in a Charter Course that can be cast post-combat?
Yeah, this is a pretty nice turn. And as we know, you kill Arclight Phoenix, is just going to come back for more later, especially when Braverman's at 18, and we've got what I would consider to be quite a few turns left to play in this game.
Yeah, I don't even think Braverman's disappointed if this Arclight Phoenix dies. There's another Finale of Promise already just queued up in the hand.
Yep. It's one less burn spell that Braverman has to care about with regards to his life total. I would argue it's all coming up Braverman in this game, as here comes another copy of Charter Course.
Not even minding the discards later. Braverman recognizes with the Crackling Drake to the finale that he's already burying Wu in cards. He just needs to cast his spells.
Yeah, it's all about converting in this particular game, and Braverman's working on doing that right now. So Opt was discarded last turn of the chart, of course. Opt is the draw step here. Braverman going to take a look at this graveyard again for the finale that's in the hand. And we are going to see a finale, perhaps. Looks like we're actually going to start off with the Opt. So let's kick things off here. Well, hard to say no to that.
Love a good Aether Gust.
So here's Aether Gust in the hand from the Opt. We might see Aether Gust be cast here from the finale. Again, a lot of options here for Braverman as he's going to pay for the finale of Promise. This is a runaway here, folks. I'm trying to envision the way that Paul Wu gets back into this game, and I defer to you, Historic Liege.
Let's see if does Wu have something like Experimental Frenzy
Okay.
that can just generate a ton of advantage out of nowhere. There are 2 frenzies in Wu's 75. I did not catch if they made it into Wu's deck, but that is a card. I guess, God, even then, Braverman has this Aether Gust.
Yep.
Oh Lord.
There are 2 frenzies in the sideboard for Paul Wu. So if you're rooting for Mono Red, I guess you're rooting for Paul Wu to draw that card, as Arclight Phoenix is back on the battlefield once again.
This is a spot where it might just be that Wu tries to actually just get in a few chunks of damage while Braverman applies pressure and tries to race that way. So here, if Wu were to rip something like, I guess Hazoret can't even attack because Wu has so many cards in hand.
Yeah.
God, I'm trying. I'm just coming up at a loss here.
You and I are having similar difficulties right now. Paul Wu drew a Shock, which, again, not great. Shock can temporarily stop Arclight Phoenix, but that's not really much of anything. I think it's going to do that. But again, these are the kind of exchanges, if you're Michael Braverman, as you mentioned earlier, Emma, that you are totally fine with.
Yeah, imagine the 2 Arclight Phoenixes that have traded with Shocks instead said if you cast 3 instants or sorceries this turn, your opponent skips their next draw step. Love it. Lock it up.
Lots to like. Crackling Drake's a 15-4. Now, this 15-4 does appear to be headed to the graveyard. Though Braverman might get a little cheeky here with it, Aether Gust. Not sure exactly what we're going to do. Looks like we might be putting our Crackling Drake back on top of the deck. Oh, this is pretty adorable. Oh, yeah. I like this. Because just when you're not far enough ahead. Okay, looks like we're going to do it to Red Cat Melee. Sure. Draw that. Still kill your thing, but whatever.
It's just Braverman basically trying to reduce the number of options that Wu has available, because Braverman knows that Wu has to keep that card on top because it's a lethal Crackling Drake.
Yep.
So it's just locking up Wu not having a good card on top of his library that turn.
You know, it's been we see Bone Crusher Giant, more importantly, Stomp the draw. It's been a hot minute since we've seen Crackling Drake in Magic.
And there are a lot of times that you can see why, right? Red Cat Melee doesn't line up very well against it. You need your games to go pretty long for it to be as impressive as it is right now. But if your deck is good at crafting that sort of game, it is incredible.
Yeah, I remember the Is It Phoenix days in Modern. I'm thinking mostly of Ross Merriam here, where he would play 1 or 2 Crackling Drakes, and that thing was lethal. It was a way to overcome Relic of Progenitus as well. Like, it was just an interesting, unique threat that I think eventually made its way out of the deck. But plenty of games played out like this, where it's like, yeah, this is a 12 plus, in this instance, 16 power creature that if you don't kill it, it's going to kill you in 1 attack. And now Bone Crusher Giant is going to try to take care of it in combination with.
Ooh, is that an Aether Gustable spell? Golly.
Isn't this fun? Isn't Aether Gust fun?
Jeez. Do you think we would enjoy drawing the same cards over and over that game?
No, it's better than drawing a land. Right? No? Okay. Arclight Phoenix to draw. Are we? Oh, yeah. The rub-ins. Let's just cast this too.
Love to push 20.
Yeah.
Clean.
20 it is. Michael Braverman's going to win this game and match here over Paul Wu. Arclight Phoenix, more of the Is It variety. You're going to take care of Mono Red aggro there. Moving on to 4-0. Not a deck that I personally expected to see a ton of here. Not that I think it's good or bad. I have really no opinion. But coming into this tournament, I expected to see a decent number of Uros in either Sultai or Bant. And then, of course, the Gabos, which appear to be pretty popular here this weekend. So you, Historic Mage, I know you have an important tournament next weekend. A dab, I like it. Do you have any strong thoughts on Historic that you might want to sum up for people as we get ready for our second match here in just a moment?
Yeah, I think Goblins is just one of the best decks right now. It's something where I think if I remember correctly, I have 41, it's either 39 or 41 different decks that I tried out for the upcoming Mythic Invitational. And it just felt like Goblins was just so far ahead of what other